Mike Bakaty is one of the few tattoo artists who tattooed illegally in New York City during the Prohibition years, which lasted from 1961 up until 1997. He has seen tattooing transform itself from that of a stigma into something that has now worked itself so deeply into mainstream American culture. Bakaty's shop, Fineline Tattoo, on the Lower East Side, has been in business since 1976, and it remains Manhattan's longest continually running tattoo shop.
As far as making a livelihood, I mean, the first year or more that I tattooed, maybe a year to 2 years that I tattooed, I basically was tattooing in exchange for, they'd bring me, some jugs of Vaseline or a few rolls of paper towels or boxes of Kleenex tissue. That was it. I mean, it took probably 8 to 10 years to build a clientele enough that I was making a livelihood. Yeah, I mean, it's changed drastically. For one, it's legal. It's certainly more democratic, as it were, in that everybody does it.
It's much more of a commercially accepted endeavor. It's definitely more academically accepted than it was.
Yeah, I probably got my first tattoo around 1950 in a little 8 by 10 foot trailer. It had electricity, had no running water, and it was in effect a bucket shop. And so much that everything was rinsed and cleaned in a bucket of water instead of on the floor. Thank goodness that's gone the way of the dinosaur. When I first started tattooing, there were maybe a half a dozen tattooers spread around New York City, meaning here, Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, etc.
Why do you think tattooing got so much exposure over the years?
Well, exposure. Why?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea.
That's a good question.
The media has really exposed a lot. TLC, I hate to say, Kat Von D and Ami James. I kind of feel like those people have betrayed the whole tattoo thing, because I miss it when it was taboo.
I mean, for a lot of years, the basic mentality with tattoo artists, I think pretty much the world over, was keep a low profile. And then beginning, I guess around the mid-'80s, everything just took off.
What I remember seeing, the shops were more taboo, a little bit scarier back then. I mean, in the 80s, it's like, oh, you walk by a tattoo shop, I've seen mothers cross, right, it was more underground, yeah. And now, they're everywhere. They're like, they're like delis.
Every block.
Every block. It's not like you have to go down that street and go behind that corner and knock on the door 3 times and, Sailor Barney's going to come to the door and tattoo you. Make sure you have your money ready. I miss the taboo of it. I miss the little fear factor to coming into a tattoo shop. I mean, I'm happy people just come in comfortably and want to get stuff done.
There were a number of people from the 70s to 80s pushing the art form and pushing for more cultural acceptance of the art form. And that seemed to have just caught like wildfire.
And then when the 90s came, that's when it just really, that's when it really started exploding.
I thought about 10 years ago that we had reached the peak. It definitely still seems to be growing, although I think we're coming back to a point in time where things are becoming more commercially homogenized and codified in terms of what a tattoo is, what it should look like, and how it should be approached. It's almost like we're coming back full circle to some point.
I remember once in the late 80s a fellow tattooer telling me, it's all over, it's all done, now it's going to sink back into obscurity. And obviously that hadn't been the case. The range of imagery, the range of technique, the range of colors, the range of skill has quadrupled and more over the past 30 years.
So you don't think people who were tattooing in those days had much skill?
Oh hell, most of them couldn't even draw. And there are some today that can't draw, but they still know the technique, they still know the procedure.
What he's talking about, when he started tattooing, it was very codified and there were very specific ways to approach a tattoo. It wasn't just an illustration, it was a tattoo. People don't really approach it that way anymore. And you have more skilled, artistically inclined people approaching a tattoo as a drawing or an illustration, which is kind of a different thing. Part of the fun and challenge of it is being asked to perform all these different styles and techniques and things like that. So.
Me, I just started working on my back right now. I'm doing this classic motif called the Battle Royale. Yeah, well, it's a back piece.
The imagery has expanded, primarily because of the capabilities of a lot of the people doing it now.
You know, as time goes on, those that are good and have quality will remain, and those that offer jack shit will disappear.
It also seemed to me to be a tour de force of graphic arts, you know, in so much as that one had to excel, or at least be competent in everything from lettering to portraiture and virtually everything in between, you know. That's, to me, been the biggest challenge and remains a challenge, you know.
Because it's, you know, this is more than a child. It's never going to run away from you. It's not like some shady wife or husband. It's not going to cheat on you. I mean, it's there. Commit to it. It's a great commitment. And if you can commit to an idea or a vision, then nothing can stop you. Right now, I'm just putting a tube to this little port over here. This holds it in place. And this is based. It's like a, you know, like a pen. Then you take your clip cord, put it in. There's a positive and a negative. And there's a foot switch. And then you got your little knob here to turn off your bolts.
That's it. And then
that's it. And then you just, you know, just working.